I know a lot of you Solar Warlocks have been lost since the nerf of Starfire Protocol, but no more. This is the meta Warlock build now. We have infinite restoration times 2, which heals you for 65 HP every second, meaning you literally never die. We have a never-ending 25% buff to our weapon damage, and then on top, thanks to our exotic, we have a massive 130% increased grenade regeneration for ourselves. And we increase our allies' grenade regeneration speed by 900%. Yes, this build is the perfect build to take in for endgame solo, like Master Lost sectors, and it's the perfect build for group activities as well, like the Day 1 raid or GMs, as you're buffing your teammates as well. There's even incredible synergy with the artifact mods this season, so you can have constant increased 50% damage resistance on top, alongside plus 50 recovery, meaning it's really easy to have triple, or even in some cases quadruple hundreds with this build. Dim link for the build will be in my Discord, link for which will be in the comments or description below. What makes this build so damn good this season is that we now have the perfect solar weapon to pair this build with, Sunshot. Hand cannons received a massive buff in PvE this season, 25% against red bars and a whopping 75% buff against mages, which includes champions. Sunshot has amazing ad clear potential, as you can see with all the explosions it creates, and with the buff, it feels absolutely monstrous in PvE. The gameplay loop for the build is really simple. We use our healing grenade, which thanks to our aspect Touch of Flame now gives us restoration times 2 for 4 seconds. We then also use our melee Incinerator Snap, which thanks to our fragment gives us Radiant, which is a 25% damage buff to all your weapons. We then use our fragment Ember of Empyrean, which states that solar kills extend the duration of Radiant and restoration. So using our Sunshot, as long as we keep killing enemies, which is now super easy because of how strong this weapon feels, we keep extending our timer for restoration and radiant. And both of these timers can be pushed out to a maximum of 12 seconds, which is actually plentiful. Our exotic armor of choice is Verity's Brow, the exotic Warlock helmet. Now Verity's Brow grants you the buff Death Throws each time you get a kill with a weapon of a matching element to your subclass. So each time you get a Sunshot kill, you're going to get a stack of this buff. The first stack gives you 50% increased grenade regeneration, and then each subsequent stack is going to give you a further 20% grenade regeneration, up to a maximum of 130% with 5 stacks. What makes Verity's even better for group content is that it also gives your allies a buff called Feel the Flame when you use your grenade when you have Death Throws active, which increases grenade regeneration for allies by 10 times. So regardless of what build your teammates are running, their grenades are going to come back super quick. Having a second person run this build in your team, which is going to happen because most teams for day 1 raids, or most raids in general, want 2 wild warlocks, means that you yourself also get the Feel the Flame buff, so it even works well if multiple people are running the exact same build. Now all this is great, but we need to optimize our build and our mods so that we can make sure we have our abilities up at all times, so we never break the chain of never-ending restoration and radiance. Let's cover the rest of our solo build first. I run Healing Rift personally for more difficult content. You can use Phoenix Dive in combination with Heat Rises to give yourself another way of proccing restoration times 2, but going into the air is much more riskier and more difficult content, which is why I settled on Healing Rift. Burst Glide, Incinerator Snap for the lower cooldown, Healing Grenade, which is at the crux of our build. I've already mentioned Touch of Flame, which boosts our healing grenade to give us times 2 restoration instead of the normal times 1. And then I run Icarus Dash for the improved mobility. You could equally run Heat Rises, it's just personal preference here. I've already mentioned Ember of Empyrean, which is the most important fragment here to extend our duration of Radiant and Restoration. Ember of Torches allows us to become Radiant every time we use our Incinerator Snap against enemies. Ember of Singeing gives us back our class ability as we scorch enemies through Sunshot and through Incinerator Snap. And then finally, Ember of Searing improves our melee regeneration when we defeat scorched targets, and we create fire sprites which grant us even more grenade energy. For your stat distribution, 100 resilience is the most important stat here for 30% damage resistance. Then 100 or as close to 100 discipline as possible so you can get your healing grenade back as soon as possible. Then go for strength, recovery, intellect, and mobility in that order. In terms of mods, the aim here is to generate orbs of power so we can pick them up and improve our melee regeneration. Through our high discipline and Verity's brow, you'll practically always have your grenade up, so it's important that we get our melee back as well. On my cloak, I run 2 outreach mods and 1 powerful attraction mod. Every time we drop our rift, we're going to generate more melee energy and hoover up any nearby orbs as well. Our boots, we have 2 stacks of invigoration and 1 stack of absolution, so when we do pick up orbs, we gain back even more melee energy. Our helmet, we run 1 harmonic siphon, so we generate tons of orbs from our Sunshot kills. On your other mod slots, run whatever siphon mods you want, which match with your weapons that you're using. Then for our arms, I run 2 impact induction mods to improve grenade regeneration whenever we damage an enemy with our incinerator snap. I then run harmonic loader, so we improve our Sunshot reload speed, thereby making the core gameplay loop feel smoother and snappier. On your chest piece, run the relevant resistance mods to the activity that you're running. Artifact perks aren't necessary at all for the build, but there are some worth picking up this season. Overload hand cannon is going to give Sunshot anti-champion properties, which is always useful. Elemental Orbs Solar will give your Sunshot a chance to spawn solar orbs, which can be thrown to create even more explosions. Refreshing pickups will give you even more ability energy when using those elemental orbs. Monochromatic Maestro will improve weapon damage even further. Incinerator Snap is going to boost your Sunshot damage by 10%, and vice versa. Elemental Embrace is going to give you 50% damage resistance against incoming solar damage, as you're constantly going to have subclass buffs in the form of Radiant and Restoration active, so you don't need to run solar resistance on your chest piece. Moreover, it provides plus 50 recovery, meaning it's quite feasible to achieve 100 resilience, 100 discipline, and 100 recovery with this build. So there you have it, my Warlock Solar build, which is practically immortal thanks to the constant restoration ×2 we have. I've loved using Sunshot with it, but you can use any solar weapon theoretically, so go crazy with the combinations. If you enjoyed what I talked about today, remember to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel for more upcoming Destiny builds, both PvE and PvP. I'm Mr. Ronit, and that's it for today. Peace out, guys.